Okay, this is one of my battery ideas. I have this program called Chem something, Chem Doodle, Chem Doodle, and I'm pretty sure it's a front for gathering information for something because the mobile app is not legal in the U.S. But the computer apps are constantly available everywhere else, which is weird. Um, so what it does is it lets you build chemical chains and test their energy output. So I made FinFETs, or a new type of FinFET. It's not really a FinFET because it has way more gates, and it's a PNP or NPN type uh, transistor, or it's a diode, or it's you can make them into logic gates or whatever the hell you want, really, because they're extremely versatile and they can replace a lot of stuff in a very small package. Because I use a new form of extremely dense carbon, not carbon, graphene crystal that I designed that magnetizes and uh, focuses the electrons in a certain pattern so that they have to travel first outward in a triangular fashion and then inward in a triangular fashion, so that if they do get in each other's way, they go faster. So it makes these like speedways through the system. The other thing is the batteries that I've been working on, and I've been going for first I went for most powerful, and I got up to numbers so high that we would never ever need energy again, but they would be so volatile and so dangerous that they couldn't be used except as maybe replacement nuclear plants, and even then they couldn't be stage 5 because you couldn't leave them alone. Then I went down, and I'm like, well, what's the safest thing I can make? I'm like, well, how about something that lasts? I have two main designs at the moment that I'm happy with. I have about 13 or 14 different designs that make sense. I think I can't remember. This is the thing; my memory just fades at this point. I can look through my notes though. But anyway, the first one that I'm happy with is C13U238. It puts out 17,761 kilojoules per hour, I believe, and it's delta epsilon, which I still don't understand. I think it's the power to fill it. I don't understand that yet. I'm still trying to find that information. It's not readily available for me. I found it on uh, Wolfram Alpha once, but it disappeared. Like it didn't like it just looked like a basin being filled with water. So I'm assuming that's like energy potential being filled with energy. The weight in kilograms per mole is 0.3942 kilograms. Energy in kilowatts per hour is 4.934 kilowatts per hour. So to the power of 19, divided by a terawatt, you get 73.1110 terawatt hours. You would have to the power of 19 because you'd have 19 moles of this stuff connected. And it would weigh 7.4898 kilograms or 16.5122 pounds. That's the lightest version possible that I could figure out. At this point, I can make it lighter, but it wouldn't be as powerful. It's also dangerous if it's too light because it could be used as a power source for bad things, which I'm now realizing. And 16 pounds on, say, a rocket spewing, uh, terrible stuff, is nothing. Especially if it's a fuel source that lasts for ever. Well, not ever. I mean, I would have to look up the ratios of going around the Earth spreading diseases and, nuclear waste and garbage like that. But you could do the same for healing materials as well. What else? That was C13U238. I have a C18 and a C23. The great thing about the CUs, 238s, is that the carbons turn into nitrogen, and they're purely they're happy. They don't care, and then you can use what's left if you're still doing it, which I don't want. You can use what's left of the uranium 238 to enrich it into plutonium. I can't remember the number. I never wrote it down. I never even looked at it. I just know it goes into plutonium that we use in power plants. So you could use it in lower levels of power plants until we get up to speed. There's other designs. There's a battery that I'm kind of curious about, which is it's quite heavy for a battery, but it's not that heavy. It's a carbon ruthenium. What's Na again? I can't remember. Oh, it's Na. Anyway, it's one of those. So it's some of those. Sorry, some of those. Let me click on my link and have a look. Right, and you would have the salts on the outside of the ruthenium. One side negatively enhanced, the other side positively enhanced. And with the carbons, you do the same things. One side you'd have positively enhanced electrons, and the other side you'd have negatively enhanced electrons, so that you'd have a battery. And the great thing about ruthenium is that it's inert, so that's your plate. So that's the world's smallest battery that I could think of. And the reason that I kept my crystal for the carbon is that it again goes to nitrogen. And nitrogen and salt don't do jack when they break off. They just stop working. And as long as there's a greater side to one than there is to the other, I believe that's the case for batteries at this point. It's in a chemical reaction. As long as there's a greater attraction on, say, the right side versus the left, so say a more negative side versus a more positive side, we would have these batteries. And the strange thing about this battery is that it makes a turkey-shaped unipole if you run orbitals at negative 1.83 eV to E minus. So, sorry, I should have read that properly. Negative 1.83 electron volts at 2 E minus. So I'm assuming that's two electrons missing. I'm not quite sure. It becomes a unipolar material, I suppose. I flipped it over and it was blue and the same shape. So, and it literally does look like a turkey. So it's just kind of funny. I'm using two programs. One's on my iPad, one's on my tablet computer, which can't handle the program, which is driving me absolutely nuts. My gaming rig can't handle the program because, like, once you get past a few thousand orbs, it's like, nope, your node system is dead. So what I need to do is get a server that I can crunch data on, and just have it slam through the data, because it's driving me nuts. Because I could be a lot more efficient, but I don't know how to do that yet, and I don't have the money, and it's something I'd have to do when I get home. But this is something I can take to my people and be like, hey, look, do you want to make this? It's not radioactive. It's the only problem with the carbon U-238 is that every once in a while it emits a beta particle. So I don't know how much shielding you would need for this to work without killing somebody, because those cause cancer. They go right through a person. They cause cancer. They're no good. It's called spontaneous fissibility. I can never get the word right. Fissibility, and it's quite dangerous, because you could have a chain reaction within the battery going doom to doom to doom to doom to doom all the way down. But it's not likely. And I think it's a matter of distance versus nuclear material, as well as density of the nuclear material, to you say air gaps or lead linings or whatever, what have you. Um, but for a while I was doing things like, well, let's see what happens if I plug this into a Tesla Roadster 2020 just for fun, right? How many miles will I get? Um, so let me go to my most powerful one and see what I was getting. Nope, that's just a build. Where is it? Oh, that is. I'm sorry. Over the last few months, I've been less organized than I realized. Those are FinFETs. Those are FinFETs. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This one has hydrogens added, but I would actually remove them. Let's see. Nope, this is something else. Okay, this is actually for one of the FinFET designs. It's a 9x9 connection. I'm not going to tell you the chemical components because this is what I'm going to try and patent. But I wouldn't use hydrogens. I don't think. I don't remember. I'd have to look it over without it crashing. They're useful, but they're well, they maybe needed. I'm not sure. Anyway, at the current build, it puts out 22,159,964 kilojoules per mole. That's got a delta epsilon of 240,760. And for a Tesla Roadster 2020, 43,502.22 molecular weight divided by 1,000 kilograms equals 43.5022 kilograms per mole. Their current battery pack for the Roadster is 833 kilograms. Divide that by 43.5022 equals 19.1484 kilogram Tesla units to fill. 22 million 159,964 kilojoules equals 6,155.5455 kilowatt hours. Times that by 19.1484 kilogram units, and you get a grand total of 117,868.8474 kilowatt hours maximum. The range currently is 200 kilowatt hour range equals 1,000 kilometers. So let's do some math. So we have 3,094,512.6965 divided by 200 times 1,000 kilometers equals 589,344.238 kilometers equals 366,201.531 miles. We're trying to get to 1,000,000 miles, right? So we divide that by a million miles divided by 366, 201.531 miles equals 2.7307 charges. Now this is not what I was going for originally. Here it is. Yeah, for the truck. So for the truck, I got better results because it has a bigger battery, right? So I actually got over 1,000,000 miles for this 19 sorry, my brain is having an issue. This 19, where am I looking, man? Truck range 500 miles equals 804.672 kilometers. I can get 1,669,695.4102 divided by 804.672 times 1,000 equals 1,000 kilometers equals 2,075,001.26 kilometers equals 1,289,346 miles. We're trying to get 1,000,000 miles. So that is taking 1,000,000 miles, dividing by that number, and we get 0.7756 charges to get 1,000,000 miles. So these work as an amplifier, I believe. So you'd have to have, say, a very small cell at the beginning or at the end. And what I think you would do, honestly, what I was thinking is you could just power them by the levers and the pedals. You'd only need a small generator to, as you press down on the gas, to spark the thing, get a few electrons in the system. They would multiply exponentially outward. And as you brake, they go exponentially backwards, right? So you'd have recursive braking. Or you could have a subsystem that's designed to brake around the system so that it's not, doing burnouts and stuff. But that was one of them. And it kept just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. And then I realized that, hey, the problem is that the batteries only last 5 years, and that's not good enough. If you need a battery every 5 years, that's not replacing the problem. That's just changing the mode of problem. You're not going to get 1,000,000 miles in 5 years unless you're a trucker. So that might get the trucker fleet going, which is great because that's still a lot of money, and a lot of commerce and a lot of clean air, because they're the ones who, if they're not electric, they're burning diesel, which is just not great, or they're burning, what is it, ethanol 85 synthetic? Can't remember. Or some burn on vegetable oil, which is pretty sweet. Let's see. What else have I got for today? Yeah, I'm going to have to read back through these because I even told myself, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go through these again. Because it's been a month. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 by 9 connection with 40 million kilojoule per mole. Chain reaction drive system. Let's have a look at this one. Use mechanical or magnetic or pyrolysis material to create electrons. As the pedals are pushed down, spread through the system towards the parts of the controls that are needed. Since transistors can amplify drastically, then a simple push on the gas that spun a magnetic dipole, for example, within a wire loop and generated some current and traveled to the amplifiers, moved to the wheels, and the car accelerated. To remain in cruise control, the car oscillates the magnetic dipole without letting the user know that the pedal is being pushed down. By road movement, it would have tiny vibrations that would cause it to turn in one direction, causing the chain reaction of the dipole movement that you want. It's like setting up a gimbal, except instead of steadying it, it turns all energy in all directions in one direction. And that's not too hard to make. To brake is the same thing in reverse. To brake to the brake pads and all-wheel drive system is split into 4 or 3 or however they've done. I think they do 3 motors for some reason. Though if they did 4, they could have all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive as well. Since the junctions can be wired a certain way, you can do both and get a moderate amount of the kilometers charge, what it takes to run the amenities. It also means that it can't really break down because it's like a Flintstones car, and I know that sounds stupid. But if you're running amplifiers and you've got a few thousand of them, or a couple million or billion or whatever, I was trying to do the math on how long it would take to make them, and it's like, well, with the head that I'm making for my print system, after talking to my machinist friend, he said reverse the system because it's better to have the finger marks, the wafer move instead of the head, which I guess is right because I don't know shit. What do I know? But I was trying to make a movable head because the way my wafers line up, they're not flat and they're different than any wafer you're ever going to see. But they stop you from getting that electron uh, slant that happens with wafer breakdown because of, you know, incongruities in the silicon or whatever we're having. Anyway, it's based on Nash toruses and all that jazz. I have plenty of pictures of that. So no batteries needed. It could even be geared millimeters to thousands of RPMs to bring up the console and rev the engine, but I'd have to know how much energy the Tesla uses for its drive system as well as its amenities to calculate that kind of system. No batteries needed, though you would have to have them as a safety precaution just because people would need them to feel safer, and they'd need the ability to charge just to feel like, you know, it's not some kind of magic. Now the problem is if someone goes in and they try and fuck with this, and they say, hey, I want to play with this, and they've left any energy in the system without draining it, they will die like they touched a transformer. Now that's a problem. There's no joke about that. They will just fry. Also, so that means there needs to be a way to dump the energy either into a solid ground state through the tires or, you know, but realistically, it needs to make enough power to constantly overcome gravity and any hill it's coming. So you might get used to pulsating your foot on the pedal to generate more and more energy, and then it'll go, and then as it slows down, you pulse it again and it goes. It might make people worse drivers or better drivers. I couldn't tell. But, I mean, just use batteries for a little while until just to smooth out the ride, you know? Yeah. There's more. I mean, shit, I've been taking notes. Crystal. Oh, I was figuring out how to charge an iPad battery for the old style. I'm not very good at math anymore, but, yeah, it just gets better and better the more connections it has because of the design of the 9x9. I don't know what to call it, man. I don't know what to call it. It's new. It's a new design. The older design was called a FinFET. It had 2 gates that would go left and right and up and down. So it had 4 gates total. Mine either has 8 gates or 10 gates, depending on what I'm using. And depending on how long it lasts and what you're using it for. It could be used in solar panels with phosphorus. It could be used with other things, more solid states, but there's still 5 years is the limit for that. The other issue with the ruthenium battery, I think, is a 2-year limit because it just burns out so quickly. So my favorite battery right now, which I don't like because it emits beta particles, is the carbon uranium-238. It'll last 10,000 years. That's the life of carbon. That'll turn into nitrogen, which can be fed off the system. The system can then be what's left of the pure leftover nitrogen, and the lead, I suppose, is left. Not nitrogen, sorry. What does... I can't remember. This is what happens when you get concussed, dude. Your brain just turns to mashed potatoes. I got concussed when I was with my mother. Hitting my head on a door. I can still feel it too. It's not a good hit. Usually it doesn't last this long. I guess I get worse with each hit because you're spanning more brain damage. Like a sponge taking biological biome growth. What are we talking about? Yeah. Beta particles no good. Will last 10,000 years. We could lock it in a storage container and produce power for fucking ever. We wouldn't outlive it. It would decay into pure plutonium. You could drop it down a sector, put it in a gravitron, and then power again for however long those rods or those gravitons. I don't know how they produce. I'd have to research them more. I'm getting kind of freaked out with what I'm researching because I'm not a national. Um, but I can't take it back to my own country because they don't do nuclear stuff. So, is what it is. I don't know. But my goal is to help people while I can because I'm aging quickly. And I'll be gone soon. So, first biomedical patent's on the way. Hopefully I'm not going to get screwed over. Still can't leave my house. Still can't go in my backyard. Still can't talk to people in public. I am basically mute to the world. Except here. Where I feel safe. And that's about it. Some other places. I don't know. It's going to be a long and slow life. Anyway, I'm sorry, I got all melancholy for a second. What else have we got to play with? What is this? Oh yeah, creating artificial biome to help curtail virulent C.diff expansion. This could be made from large vat fermentation if fermentation is even needed. It just makes it easier to absorb in the body, as proven with other foods like kimchi and other things. They keep the body biome just one step ahead because they have to work a little bit harder, I think, or maybe to work a little bit less. I don't know. I'm not a biologist. Other than diarrhea, dehydration, combating waters with electrolytes. We'll need probiotics from live yogurt, powdered calcium, which can be made from almonds, flax, hemp, or soy, depending on nation or human type, depending on their dietary issues, is what I mean. So, some form of Metamucil or powder ground oats, lentils, flax seeds. Again, flax is great, or some citruses. All of these are dependent on region. All of these are dependent on what you can get in time to grow quickly, unless you can do a worldwide. So what I'm hoping to build when I put Python on my iPad, I'm hoping to design a 3D world where I can start mapping things that I find interesting. Because there's going to be need for this. And then I can send this all to the UN and be like, look, this is what's happening. This is what you need to do if you want to fix it. This is what I think you need to do, sorry. Who the hell am I, though? I'm just some voice, right? Some homebody. Anyway, powdered egg or chicken or turkey, if available. It has to be something like that. Some kind of protein that's not expensive to make, or we have a surplus of. The liquid base of the pill gel could be juiced vegetables well cooked, beets, cucumber, celery, things that digest easily but offer massive nutrient boosts, or synthetics. I don't go with synthetics because we want to keep the soils rejuvenating as much as we can, and these are things I'm planning to grow within my vertical farms to test out and see if they help. Dried potatoes or bananas, white rice, all of those things can be grown inside. Combining all of these into a powdered form and combining them again with liquefied vegetables in an oral syringe or multiple pill delivery system, such as suppositories, or if they can keep them down, or up, I guess. Down. Up. Should slow or stop C. diff spread as outbreaks occur during upcoming heat waves, because people are going to not be able to get to the bathroom in time or wash their hands in time because water is going to become contaminated from more and more people getting sick from bad food and needing to eat it because they don't want to die. So that's just some of the stuff on my mind lately. That puts me at about half an hour, 30 seconds or so. If you're listening, have a good day. If you're not, have a good day anyway. Yep. Give me a couple weeks, I'll make some more stuff and get back to you. Or I could go back through the archives. I have 2 books written on designs. I mean, and in the second book, there's hundreds of entries. In the first book, there's like 180 entries, I think. Some of them are about family because I was in psychosis. And some of them are about space exploration, which won't happen for a while because we're not there. Like, they're discovering stuff that I've been talking about for the last year, 2 years. But it's nice to see people listening. Or finding information useful, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta stop talking now. Bye. Okay, well, I'm taking a break, so I might as well do some ads. This is my first one, so bear with me. So, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's pretty cool. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And all you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.